Thanks, Dawn, for sitting down with me for a conversation about the Oklahoma United Methodist Circle of Care. Circle of Care is a large agency and with a presence across the state. Can you please walk me through all that the Circle of Care does?
Sure. A lot of our people know about the Children's Home at Tahlequah, or our Boys Ranch at Gore, or maybe our Francis Willard campus at Tulsa. Or even if you're out needed, they know about the Holsinger Home. But sometimes they don't know all of what we do at those programs. But basically, the mission of the Circle of Care is to provide Christian help, healing, and hope to families and youth in crisis across our state. And we basically do that in 4 programs. We have a transitional housing program for women with children in Tulsa, the Pearls Hope program. We work with 5 to 9 women and 15 to 20 children at any one time that are homeless there in Tulsa. We have a program called Community Outreach, where if we get a call from the community and a family's in crisis, we're able to send someone into that family and make an assessment and hook them up with some local support. Sometimes they need a permanent solution. Sometimes the church can wrap around and help them where they're at. We also have our Preparation for Adult Living program. And that's where young people 16 and over that want to finish high school, that want to graduate college or learn a trade, come and stay with us while they do that. Since 2012, we've had 13 children graduate college, 16 children graduate high school, and 4 earn a vocational certificate for training. We're very excited about that program. And then our biggest program is our Child Share program, and that encompasses all our foster care programs across the state. And that's what we're going to be talking about, a lot of expansion.
I know there has been a significant amount of change and growth in your years with the Circle of Care. Can you talk about the growth and how it affects our local churches and communities?
Sure. We're serving about 30% more children and youth on our campuses than when I came here 10 years ago. The foster care has had a big growth, about 75% growth in that program. And our adoption home, which is really a sort of a good part of our foster care program, where a lot of children find forever homes in those foster homes, has grown about over 500%. So we're very excited about the growth. Late last year, a very Christian-centered gentleman, Paul Milburn, called us and wanted to talk with us about how we might expand that program. And he challenged us, if we could get our churches and our supporters to match his funds, he would fund 4 positions in 4 communities to have a foster care worker working in those communities. And our board and our churches and our supporters stepped forward, and within a couple of months we had matched that. And we started our expansion in Stillwater, Shawnee, Ardmore, and Weatherford. We wanted to have a worker in these communities where they have a big need, but very few foster homes. When we went back to Mr. Milburn and talked to him about and thanked him for his involvement, he said, "Isn't there 4 more places you'd like to be?" And I said, "Of course." And again, our board, our supporters, our churches stepped forward. And by January, we had made that match. So the next 4 areas we're looking at are Ponca City, Lawton, McAllister, and Woodward. And when we get there, we'll really be within about an hour's drive of anywhere in Oklahoma. And that's what we would like to be able to reach out to those families from these new locations.
I was at the first of these kickoff events in Ardmore, and I know that the new family child share specialist is working hard to find safe, loving, Christ-centered homes for children that are now in state custody. We're already halfway through 2015. Can you tell me what is on the horizon for the rest of the year and forward?
Oklahoma is tied with the District of Columbia for 50th place in the most children in out-of-home placements. We currently have over twice the national average in children in out-of-home placements, and we have very few foster homes. And what we're hoping is by going into these communities, finding foster homes, wrapping the church's support around those foster homes, we'll be able to make a big dent in that problem. Currently, if a child needs a foster home and there's not one in that area, they may have to move 75, 100 miles to find a home. And so by focusing in these local communities, I think we're going to be able to provide a discipleship for that church and work with those children in those communities.
Thanks, Don. You've talked quite a bit about growth, which is exciting. Can you tell me about the agency's health and how you're able to manage this expansion?
We've worked really diligently at being good stewards of our are in our church's resources. We're happy to say the last 3 years we've been in the black. And any money that we make above our budget goes right back into strengthening the other ministries of the agency. So we're excited about that. We've also tried to diversify some of our funding. We have contracts with the state. We were able to get 3 foundations to support us last year, and our supporters are really stepping forward and helping us. We're always appreciative of our apportionments and our special gifts from the church.
Jesus told his disciples that just as you care for the least of those among us, you've cared for me. And now we are going to hear a few stories which illustrate the way Circle of Care has fulfilled this call.
My experiences at Pearl's Hope have been of love and acceptance. When we left the situation we were in, we were literally fleeing a very dangerous, volatile situation, and they brought us in. Basically, they treated us with understanding and love the whole time. They were patient with us. They took care of every need that we had. So it's kind of been an extreme, from one extreme to the other, from being completely terrified all the time to being able to sleep at night and know that we're safe. Well, we stayed at a motel a couple times, but mostly we were staying in my van. And so it was kind of scary. We would try and find places that were fairly safe to be in. So we would cover the windows so people couldn't see in easily. During the day, we rode to the library in the car and we would do their homeschool. I went and applied for food stamps, and they had a list of different places that had services. And when I was going down the list and I was telling people the situation, they actually started recommending Pearl's Hope. So that night it was a mixed emotion. It was mixed with relief from having a place to go, and just the release of anxiety of not having to stay in the car, and amazement that somebody would be so caring to take us in right then. Some of the classes we went through, like I mentioned, we went to the Boundaries class. We went to various classes on just, establishing a budget, things like that. They went over basic things in case I needed it. Since I needed a little bit of job training to kind of up my abilities to get into a good position, they provided a class for me. I went and took a QuickBooks class, did some computer classes, things like that, and they provided for all of those things. It's just been an amazing blessing. Every need that we've had, they've met. Since we've come to Pearl's Hope, my boys have gone from fear and always looking over their shoulders to now we laugh together. And we're just able to spend time and relax and enjoy each other. I think we're going to do well. We've already got the budget established. The income, the budget, and the apartment all meet. So we're looking forward to it. We're excited. Without Pearl's Hope, we would have had no hope. We would have either ended up having to go back to that situation, which was an extremely dangerous situation, or we would literally be homeless living in the car. Without Pearl's Hope, we wouldn't have had any hope.
There are not many 7-year-olds who know what they want to do with their lives. There are not many 7-year-olds that arrive at the county shelter and consider it the best day of their life. Growing up in a home with abuse and neglect changes your perspective. After spending 24 hours of being showered in love and affection from the girls in the shelter, I was picked up by a family member and brought back to a situation I had come from. My brother and I were then placed with a loving family for a short time. In this time, I was loved and I was cared for by amazing foster parents. My mother was eventually released from prison, and the day I was returned to my biological mother's home was the worst day of my life. These early experiences inspired me to provide a safe and loving home for kids in crisis situations. Since age 19, I have been taking care of kids who were in trouble. And for the past 4.5 years, my husband and I have served as licensed foster parents with the state. My home has 7 kids, 3 who are adopted, 2 biological, 2 in foster care. I signed up to become a foster parent with the state and then heard about Circle of Care's Child Share program from a friend. With that many kids in the home, there are huge costs involved with new clothes when the seasons change, Christmas wish lists, and back to school supplies. Child Share supports these kids by supporting us. They provide back to school supplies, clothes through the co-op, and wish lists for every kid in the home. And when the husband and I need a break, the Child Share program offers multiple options. Local churches host date nights for foster parents, 4 to 5 hours of quality child care so parents can have a night out. There are also support groups where foster parents can get together and learn from other moms. Additionally, respite caregivers are there to take the kids for 4 days per month at no expense. I recently started taking advantage of the community involvement funds Child Share provides. We can be reimbursed for up to $250 a year per child for expenses used on activities like memberships at Frontier City, the Science Museum, or the zoo. It gets so expensive when you have 7 kids. You can't even send them to camp. These funds are made available to ensure that all children, no matter their circumstances, can experience a rich childhood. These stories of my kids are unique, but the outcomes are similar. Kids go from fighting and surviving to thriving. They arrive after suffering physical and emotional trauma. Then over a period of months and years, they experience love and eventually heal. The impact on my teenage son has also been profound. Fostering has humbled him in ways we couldn't imagine. So thank you, Child Share, for all the support you've provided us.